Chika was the kind of man people described as God-fearing. He walked with quiet confidence, spoke with the restraint of someone raised to respect silence, and rarely looked anyone directly in the eye for too long. When he smiled, it was faint, almost apologetic, as though joy was a luxury he was afraid to display too freely. He lived in Lagos with his wife, Amoka, in a one-bedroom flat in Egbida. The compound was like many others in the city, clotheslines sagging under the weight of washed clothes, children chasing one another with plastic bottles, and the faint, ever-present smell of kerosene from someone's stove. Chika's days followed a steady pattern: office by 7:30, back home by 6, church by 7, and sleep by 10. It was a rhythm that left no room for surprises. But beneath that neat routine, a quiet ache had begun to grow. Chika and Amoka had been married for 6 years, and in those 6 years, no cry of a child had echoed through their small flat. At first, they were patient. The pastor said to wait on the Lord. Chika's mother, who lived in the village, told him not to worry, that children came when God willed it. But patience in Lagos was like fuel in a generator, it burned quickly and left smoke behind. As time went on, people began to ask questions. In family meetings, his uncles would laugh too loudly, clapping him on the back and saying, "Chika, when are we coming to name your child now?" Amoka's friends stopped visiting altogether, tired of the silence in her house. Even Chika's mother, Mom Nkem, would sometimes ask gently on the phone, "My son, have you gone to check in the hospital? Maybe it's something small." It was around that time that Chika's pastor began to take an interest in his situation. Pastor Edwin was a tall man with a booming voice and a presence that filled the pulpit like thunder. His church, Fire of the Word Ministry, was one of those new generation places where testimonies sounded like confessions and miracles were announced before they happened. He preached with passion, sweat glistening on his forehead, his words heavy with promises. One evening, after a midweek service, he called Chika and Amoka into his office. The air conditioner hummed weakly, barely cutting through the heat. Chika sat nervously, his cap in his hands, while Amoka stared at the floor. "Brother Chika," the pastor began, his tone grave. "The Spirit has been troubling me about your case. You have been faithful in service, faithful in giving, yet your breakthrough has not come. Do you know why?" Chika shook his head slowly. "No, sir." Pastor Edwin leaned forward. "Because someone close to you is fighting you. Someone who does not want your joy to manifest." Amoka gasped softly. The pastor continued, his voice dropping to a whisper. "It is a woman. An elderly woman. Someone who smiles at you, but her heart burns with envy. The Lord showed me a pot, a clay pot buried near your father's compound. That is the source of your delay?" Chika frowned. "Sir, my father is late. Only my mother lives there now." The pastor's eyes hardened. "Exactly. The Spirit does not lie. It is your mother." For a moment, the world went silent. Even the weak hum of the air conditioner seemed to fade. "My mother." Chika's voice trembled. "Pastor, she raised me alone. She..." "Brother Chika," the pastor interrupted sharply, "that is how the devil works. He uses those closest to us. Remember what the Bible says, a man's enemies shall be those of his household. I am telling you what I saw. If you want your destiny to open, you must cut that connection." Amoka began to cry quietly beside him. Chika sat still, staring at his hands. He remembered his mother's cracked palms, the way she used to sit by the firelight and tell him stories after a long day on the farm. The image warred with the pastor's words, but the fear was stronger. That night, when they got home, Amoka said softly, "My husband, we must pray. The man of God cannot lie." From that night, Chika's phone grew silent of one voice. His mother called for weeks, leaving voicemails that began with laughter and ended with worry. "My son, are you okay? I've been calling. Maybe network is bad." Later, "Chika, it's been a month now. I hope Amoka is well." And finally, "My son, even if you are angry with me, remember I am your mother. I'm still praying for you." But Chika never answered. He told himself it was for his own good. Each time his conscience stirred, He remembered the pastor's words, the devil uses the familiar. Months turned into a year. The church became his refuge. Pastor Edwin began to refer to him as Brother Chika, the man who would testify soon. Every service, they prayed against household enemies, shouting until voices cracked and sweat soaked their clothes. Amoka threw herself into it too. They anointed their home with oil, fasted, and even sent money for deliverance sessions. And then, one Sunday, something strange happened. A woman in church fell under the anointing and began to scream, "Leave my son alone. Leave him." The congregation erupted, people shouting, praying, clapping. Pastor Edwin pointed dramatically. "Do you see? The witch is confessing." Chika froze. His heart pounded as he watched the woman roll on the floor, her voice breaking with each scream. "I will not let him have children. I will not." When it ended, the pastor turned to Chika. "You see, Brother Chika, God is exposing them one by one. This is just the beginning. Continue in faith." That night, Chika could not sleep. The words echoed in his head like a curse. The image of his mother's wrinkled face appeared behind his eyelids, but now it looked different, darker, menacing, dangerous. He deleted her number the next morning. And just like that, the woman who had once been the center of his world became a ghost he refused to acknowledge. Chika's life moved on, but quietly, something within him began to dry up. The laughter that used to fill his home faded. Amoka's prayers grew more desperate. Even the pastor's voice no longer carried the same comfort it once did. But pride and fear held him captive, too afraid to doubt, too ashamed to question. In the village, Mama Nkem sat every evening under the mango tree in front of her house, holding her phone and staring at the number that never rang anymore. Sometimes she would smile faintly and say to the neighbors, "My son is busy in Lagos. Work is too much these days." But her eyes, clouded with age, told a different story. Years would pass before Chika gathered the courage to return home. By then, time had done its quiet work. And when he finally made the journey, it would not be to seek forgiveness, but to face what guilt had left behind. Time has a way of moving differently when guilt is involved. For Chika, the years after the pastor's revelation stretched like an endless road, long, dusty, and without landmarks. The first year passed with hope. The church held a special deliverance service for him and Amoka. They prayed, fasted, and sowed seeds. Every Sunday, Pastor Edwin would say, "Brother Chika, your story is about to change." Chika would nod, eyes closed, his amen whispered like a secret. The second year came, and Amoka fell ill. The doctor said it was stress. The pastor said it was the enemy fighting back. "You must not look back," he warned. "Once you cut off a serpent, never feed it again." So Chika doubled down. More prayers, more offerings, more distance. He told himself it was obedience. He told himself it was faith. But sometimes, late at night, when Amoka's soft sobs filled their room, he wondered if obedience should feel this much like abandonment. He didn't visit the village anymore. Not for Christmas, not for funerals. When his cousins called, he made excuses. Work is too much. Transport is expensive. Amoka is not feeling fine. They stopped calling after a while. Mama Nkem, his mother, held on longer than anyone else. She would wake before dawn, sweep the compound, and wait by the roadside for the post bus that brought letters from town. None came. When she finally learned to use a small Nokia phone given to her by the catechist's son, she sent him text messages, shaky, misspelled, but full of love. "My son, I dream you. You were smell? Are you well? My pikin, please call me. I miss you. Chika, my eyes know they see well again, but I am praying. God will bless you." He never replied. At first, the silence was heavy. Then it became familiar. Then it became normal. It was easier that way, easier not to think of her, not to imagine her voice, not to remember the years she spent carrying him on her back through harmattan mornings to school. But Lagos is a city that keeps score in whispers. Sometimes at the office, when colleagues spoke about their mothers, I sent her money for Easter. I called Mama yesterday. Chika would laugh awkwardly and say, "Oh, my own Mama is strong. Oh. She doesn't even like phone calls." Then he would return to his desk, pretending to work, while something heavy pressed against his chest. By the 5th year, things had started to change at the church. Pastor Edwin became more flamboyant, his sermons more about prosperity than deliverance. His suits got shinier, his car bigger. Chika noticed but said nothing. Faith, he told himself, was not about judging men of God. But Amoka noticed too. Her eyes, once bright with belief, began to dim. "Chika," she said one night as they sat eating dinner in silence, "when last did you call Mama?" He looked up sharply. "Which Mama?" "Your mother," she said quietly. "The one in the village." He dropped his spoon. "Why are you bringing this up now?" "Because it's been years, Chika." "Years. What if she's sick? What if?" "Don't start, Amoka," he cut in, his voice rising. "I told you before, the pastor said she's the one behind all this. You want me to go back and open the door we have closed?" Amoka sighed. "Sometimes I wonder if we closed the right door." They didn't speak for the rest of the night. The next morning, as Chika drove to work, traffic crawled along the Egbida-Iona-Ipojo road. Vendors weaved between cars, selling pure water and plantain chips. A beggar woman knocked gently on his window, a child strapped to her back. Her face reminded him of his mother. He looked away. That day, he couldn't focus. Numbers blurred on the screen. When his phone rang, he jumped. The caller ID flashed, unknown number. He hesitated before answering. "Hello." The voice on the other end was frail, trembling. "Chika, my son, is that you?" His heart stopped. He knew the voice, even though it sounded weaker than he remembered. "Mama," he whispered. "My son," she said, her breathing uneven. "I just wanted to hear your voice. I didn't know if the phone still works. My eyes not too they see again." The Reverend helped me call. Silence. Chika swallowed hard. "Mama. I'm fine." "Oh, thank God. You sound strong. How is Amoka? Have you people born now?" He couldn't answer. "Mama," he began, but she continued, her tone full of simple pride. "Don't worry, it will happen. Just be patient. God's time is the best. I pray for you every day." Chika's throat tightened. For a moment, he almost confessed, almost told her everything, almost said "I'm sorry." But the pastor's words echoed again in his mind like an iron bell. The devil uses the familiar. "Mama, I have to go. I'm at work," he said quickly. "Okay, my son. Greet your wife for me. Please, don't forget your mother." The line went dead. Chika sat staring at his phone for a long time. That was the last time he heard her voice. 2 more years passed. The business folded. Pastor Edwin left the country for missions and never returned. Amoka stopped going to church altogether. One morning, she packed her bags and left a short note, "I need peace. Don't look for me." Chika didn't chase her. He didn't even cry. He just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the oil stains on the wall. Somewhere deep inside, he knew everything had started the day he believed the wrong man. When he finally decided to go back home, it wasn't because he wanted reconciliation. It was because Lagos had emptied him of faith, of pride, of everything except regret. He was tired of running from his own shadow. He took a night bus to Anambra, sitting by the window, watching the lights of the city fade behind him. Rain fell somewhere near or, tapping gently against the glass. He thought of his mother again, her laughter, her hands, her patience. He would find her, he told himself. He would beg her forgiveness. They would sit together under the mango tree like old times. He didn't know that time had already written a different ending for him. When the bus rolled into his village the next morning, mist hung low over the red earth roads. He got down, stretching his legs, his heart pounding with something between fear and hope. Children stared curiously at the man with the city shoes. As he walked toward his family compound, he noticed how overgrown the path was, the weeds thick around the fence. The house looked smaller, quieter. Even the air felt heavy, like a place holding its breath. At the gate, an old woman from the next compound stopped him. Her eyes widened in recognition. "Chica," she said softly. "You came?" "Yes, Mama. I came to see my mother." "Is she inside?" The woman hesitated. Then she shook her head slowly. "Oh, my son, didn't they tell you? Your mother, she died last year." Chica froze. His mouth went dry. "What?" No, Mama, that's not possible. She was sick for a long time. She kept saying you would come. Every morning she sat under that mango tree waiting. Even on the day she died, she asked if your boss had arrived. The ground seemed to tilt beneath him. The old woman's voice grew distant, her words dissolving in the hum of the wind. When he finally stepped into the compound, the house felt like an accusation. Her walking stick still leaned against the wall. The chair by the tree was empty, covered in dust. Chili sank to his knees. For the first time in years, he wept like a child. The village seemed quieter than he remembered. Even the birds sang softly, as if out of respect for something that could no longer be undone. Chica stayed in the compound for hours, kneeling beside the spot where the old woman said they buried Mom and Kem. The ground was bare, no headstone, just a small mound of red earth under the mango tree. Someone had placed a plastic cross at the head of it, the kind that faded quickly under the sun. He ran his fingers through the soil, and his mind filled with her voice. "My son, eat before you go. My son, don't stay long in the rain. My son, remember your mother." He bent forward, pressing his forehead against the earth. "Mama, I'm sorry," he whispered. "Forgive me. I didn't know." But the soil said nothing. That evening, he sat outside the house as dusk fell. The same tree that had shaded his childhood now stood like a silent witness over him. The air smelled of dust and smoke from distant cooking fires. Children's laughter floated faintly from somewhere beyond the fence, life continuing, indifferent to his grief. The neighbor woman who had spoken to him earlier came by again, carrying a lantern. "My son, you should eat something," she said gently. "She wouldn't want you starving." Chika shook his head. "How long was she sick?" The woman sighed. "Almost a year. It started small, just fever. We took her to the health center, but medicine costs money. She didn't want to worry you. She said you were busy in Lagos, that you would come when you could." He closed his eyes. "Did she ever talk about me?" "She talked about you every day," the woman said softly. "Sometimes she would hold her phone, waiting. Other times she would sit under this same tree and say, 'Chica will come this Christmas.' When Christmas passed, she said, 'Maybe Easter.' When Easter passed, she stopped saying anything. The words sank into him like stones. He thanked her quietly. When she left, the night swallowed him again. The next morning, he went to the small Catholic church at the center of the village. The priest recognized him immediately. "Oh, Chica. You've come." His tone held no accusation, only weariness. They sat inside the empty church, the wooden pews creaking under their weight. The faint smell of incense lingered in the air. "I heard what happened," Chica said softly. "I should have come sooner." The priest nodded. "Your mother prayed for you till the end. She told me not to call you, that you would come when God permitted." Chica's voice cracked. "She didn't curse me." The priest looked at him. "No. She blessed you." For a long moment, Chica said nothing. Tears rolled down his face silently, falling onto the wooden floor. The priest laid a hand on his shoulder. "Guilt is a heavy thing, my son. But carrying it will not raise the dead. Live right. That is all you can do now." Chica nodded slowly. He stayed in the village for 2 weeks. Each day he cleaned the compound, repaired the leaking roof, repainted the walls. It was as if the small acts of labor could atone for years of neglect. But the silence never left. Sometimes at night, he thought he heard her voice, soft, humming an old Igbo hymn from his childhood. He would wake up sweating, calling her name into the darkness. One afternoon, he went through her things. Inside an old tin box, he found the letters she had written but never posted. The handwriting was shaky, the ink faded. "My son, I know you are busy, but I thank God for your life. Don't mind what people say. I know you still love me. Even if you never call again, I have given you to God." Beneath the letters was a small black and white photograph of the two of them. He was 8 years old, standing beside her on the farm, his hands dusty with yam soil. She was smiling proudly, her hand resting on his shoulder. That night, he burned the letters one by one, watching the smoke rise into the dark. "I don't deserve you," he said to the ashes. When he finally left the village, he didn't go back to Lagos. He couldn't. The city felt cursed now, every streetlight, every honk, every billboard a reminder of the man he used to be. He settled in Onitsha, taking a small accounting job at a transport company. He lived simply, spoke little, and went to church quietly on Sundays. To his colleagues, he was just another middle-aged man trying to survive. No one knew his story. But guilt has its own way of lingering. Every year, on the anniversary of his mother's death, Chika returned to the village with a small wreath. He would sit under the mango tree for hours, talking to her grave as though she could hear him. "I'm still trying, Mama," he would say. "I don't pray in that church anymore. I don't believe every voice that claims to be from God." He never remarried. Sometimes Amoka sent letters through mutual friends, saying she was doing fine. He never replied. What was there to say? The villagers grew used to his visits. They called him the quiet son who lost his mother. Children would wave when he arrived, and the elders would nod with pity. One Harmattan evening, many years later, they found him sitting under the mango tree, motionless. A faint smile rested on his face. The wreath he had brought lay beside him. He was gone, quietly, like a man who had finally finished the journey he started too late. When they buried him, they placed his grave beside his mother's, under the same mango tree. The priest who presided over the burial said a short prayer. May the mother who forgave him in life, receive him in peace in death. And the wind that swept through the trees that day sounded almost like a whisper, soft, forgiving, final.